creating time for us. We had already started warming up to this conversation. It's just a few hours to the official commencement of the World Breastfeeding Week, which starts tomorrow, Thursday, 1st of August, to all the way to the 7th of August. Usually this is around the time we celebrate all the breastfeeding moms and also get into their world, understand their journey, their challenges, and everything that needs to be done, society, at the workplace, what policies we need, what is the legal framework looking like that will work towards creating an environment that will support mothers to be able to breastfeed their children. And as you will understand from my panel this morning, that is a very important activity that can go a long way in saving lives of children and even has a lot of advantages, not only to the mother, but to the entire nation at large. I'm hosting this morning a panel of two ladies. I'll begin with on my far right, Mary Mavenge. She's a lactation specialist, has worked for decades. I'd say about, is it 30 plus years, yes, you know, just in childcare and supporting mothers. Just moved to the breastfeeding area 20 years ago. I'm saying it like it's yesterday, but she has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the challenges moms face and how to get it right. And we appreciate your time for coming this particular morning. Mary is a retired nurse as well, so we will be taking time to just talk about her understanding of this particular subject. We're having this morning also Professor Ruth Karithi Ndwati. She is a pediatrician and an epidemiologist, also a professor of pediatrics at the School of Medicine and at the College of Health Sciences at the University of Nairobi. Thank you for creating time. All right, I wish we had time. I could go deeper into her rich CV, but that is the much that we can be able to just share with you, just to give you a glimpse of what we're going to be discussing. So today it's all about childcare and celebrating mothers who are breastfeeding, but we all agree it's not all celebration. Sometimes it comes with a bit of challenges. But let's start from the very basic. Mary, in your line of work for years, you spent time insisting and teaching mothers why exclusive breastfeeding is something that is pivotal, showing them how to do it, and even just really making this message sink. Let's begin there. Why is it a big deal for us to be talking about breastfeeding?
Thank you for having me. It is very important for mothers to understand. Before, many years ago, breastfeeding was easy because mothers were delivering when they had their own mothers and the community to help them. But now things have changed now, especially mothers who are not living with their mothers and all that. Breastfeeding is not automatic like people think. It is actually a skill that a mother needs to be shown, a new mother, how to do it. Because, okay, the baby knows how to do it when they come out, but the mother may have no knowledge. She will have the breast, but which part of the breast is she supposed to give the baby? So that is the basics that they need to know, that knowledge, how to handle it from the word go. And once they get it right, then it becomes easier. Yes. So
it's not automatic.
It is
especially
not.
For first-time moms. Yeah. Prof, let's also look at, you know, where we are at when it comes to the goals of breastfeeding. What are these goals for Kenya, and where are we at when it comes to achieving those goals and realizing issues such as even exclusive breastfeeding that has been like the core of why you know, women need to be having this conversation? Where are we? How are we doing?
Thank you for inviting me to speak on this. Babies need to breastfeed exclusively in the first 6 months of life. And you need to put the baby to the breast within within an hour, ideally within half an hour of delivery. And the baby is born with the instinct to breastfeed. We have a period that early, the first 20 minutes or so, the baby is alert after normal delivery. The baby is actually alert. And we put the baby on the mom's abdomen. They will crawl towards that breast. So we are wired to breastfeed. Now, we've made lots of progress in terms of getting to exclusive breastfeeding. About 60% First of all, 99% of women in Kenya actually initiate breastfeeding, and about 60% are able to achieve exclusive breastfeeding to 6 months. So we've made tremendous progress.
When you say initiate, is within the first hour?
Yes, to start, yeah. And the value of this breastfeeding to the baby is that breast milk is food, and it provides all that the baby needs in that first 6 months of life. Breastfeeding is also a process of bonding between the mother and the baby. It provides stimulation that is very important for the brain development of that child. When you breastfeed, you are responsive. So you breastfeed, you pick up your child and put them to a breast when they wake up and they're uncomfortable. You're teaching the child that the world is a loving place. You're teaching compassion. And compassion and responsiveness to each other is a critical competence in developing cohesive societies. Trust, the process of trust develops from that very early newborn period. Now, more important is that when babies are breastfed, they are more intelligent than the baby who's not breastfed. This has come out of research work in countries where we're not, Africa always is portrayed as a place where there's a malnutrition, so breastfeeding is to prevent the malnutrition. But work from developed nations have shown that where you have lots of formula available, so breastfeeding, you're actually making an intentional choice to breastfeed. The children who are breastfed, by the time they are 4 years, 6 years of age, they have a higher IQ. Sometimes as much as 4 to 6 points of IQ higher than the child who's not breastfed. So breastfeeding is not just about survival. It's not just about nutrition. It's about the basis of human capital development. So as a nation, it's very important we protect breastfeeding for the mother and the baby.
All right.
Yes.
All right. To support that. Mary, just coming back to you, we're talking about breastfeeding and its benefits, and Prof has touched quite well on how it benefits the child. I didn't know about the IQ. I'm actually learning that it improves the IQ of the baby. You had that. So let's talk about the benefits on the mother. Yeah, we think it's about the child, but does it benefit the mother as well? Let's talk about that.
It has a lot of benefits to the mother. First of all, the love. Actually, when the baby is conceived, by 7 weeks of conception, the sense of touch is developed. So the baby and the mother start relating at that point. You can imagine a 7 weeks old baby. By the time this baby is born, they have been relating with this mother. The baby is in that warm water, So when the baby is born, the first thing baby craves for, it's not even food. It is the mother's love. And that's why babies are put on the mother's abdomen immediately. Once they are dried a bit, then the breast. So that bonding is very, very key for the mother and the baby. So the bonding is an advantage. Emotionally, when a mother is breastfeeding, emotionally they are connected. A mother who is breastfeeding is a happy mother. That's another one. Physiologically, when the mother is breastfeeding, her own body is producing hormones to make her start going back to normal. Before conception, you are a slim girl. Then by the time you are breastfeeding and all that, you gain a bit of weight. But the more you breastfeed, those hormones are the ones that make that uterus go back to normal. So breastfeeding helps the mother to regain her initial figure she had. The other advantage, which has been proven scientifically, mothers who have breastfed, the risk of having breast cancer, uterine cancer, and cervical cancer is reduced by more than 50%. So there are many advantages to the mother. Yes.
It's not just to the child. I want to open this up a bit again. So we talked about advantages to the child, to the mother, but as Kenya, because we want to invest in this, do we stand to reap the benefits? What will the country gain if we attain all the goals that we are setting for ourselves to ensure that every mother who is supposed to be breastfeeding is breastfeeding and breastfeeding the right way? What are some of the positive outcomes that the country can reap from this?
There are many. We've talked about a healthy baby. Breast milk breastfeeding protects against infections. So the baby who's breastfed is less likely to be ill, and so your health bill is the money spent on treating illness is diminished when you are breastfeeding your baby. The intelligence of these children means that the investment we put in education is realized. If a child is presenting to school having a deficit, a lot of resources are spent, but you don't get the benefits that you would wish to have as a nation. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a need to be concerned about the issue of child development and the role of breastfeeding in promoting that. The process of breastfeeding stimulates the brain and the child is developing better. Mm-hmm. The Kenya Demographic Health Survey shows that 1 in 5 children, Kenyan children, aged 2 years to 5 years, are not achieving their developmental milestones. Mm-hmm. And some of this may be related to issues around childbirth, like birth asphyxia, baby failing to breathe when they're born. It is also maybe related to poor interaction between the mother and the baby, that stimulation of the infant in those early years. Mm-hmm. So in terms of economic development, breastfeeding is presenting to you a person whose human capital is, who has the potential to develop the human capital in a better way than if they're not breastfed. Mm-hmm. And we're also saving in that this child is healthier, so we're not spending money in treating illnesses. Mm-hmm. So there are great advantages.
You see that? That's the bigger picture that sometimes we miss. When you're having such conversations, why are you talking about breastfeeding? I mean, that's the bigger picture that makes this conversation so significant, because at the end of the day, we cut on budget that we spend in treating illnesses among the children, because they are living healthier lives. Breast milk, is it called the liquid gold? Is actually medicine,
Yes, Let me add. We talk about exclusive breastfeeding in the first 6 months of life, but we need to continue breastfeeding until 2 years. And we have really good data showing that the child who's breastfed even to the 2nd year of life is less likely to get ill, is less likely to be admitted into hospital, and they continue to have that stimulation of being together with the mother through the process of breastfeeding. Between breastfeeding, adequate complementary feeding, and stimulation of your child, you can almost guarantee your child will grow up and go to university and graduate. Yes, because the human brain, the human brain grows mainly in the first 3 years of life.
Underline and emphasize, if you breastfeed your child well, you may just be raising a university material automatically.
Yes, and a confident person. A person who will be a leader, the human brain develops mainly in the first 3 years of life. In fact, when there are problems of malnutrition, if we don't sort them out before 3 years, the impact is sustained. But if you're well nourished in the first 3 years of life, you'll be doing. There are lots of studies showing you'll do well. If you earn more income, you have better human relationships down, in your adult life.
Mary, there's that thing that you both have mentioned about the initiating of breastfeeding. This hour that is very crucial. We never really talk about that. I want us to talk about some of the challenges or unique cases that you interacted with, that of mothers getting it difficult, and some of the concerns that we are looking at when it comes to attaining our goals of initiating breastfeeding. She said 99, is it over 90?
Yeah, over 90, almost 99% of our women in Kenya start breastfeeding.
All right. So what happens to this 10%? What are the unique challenges that are there?
The 1%.
99%.
Yes.
We're doing well. We're doing well.
So, actually, as the professor has said, the first 1 hour, the baby is alert and ready to feed. After delivery, 2 to 4 hours after that, baby just sleeps. So even if you try to initiate breastfeeding that time, they will not breastfeed.
After 4 hours?
2 to 4 hours.
4 hours.
They are in slumberland. So, and now what happens, especially in the urban hospitals, if the baby now was not breastfed, there between these 2 to 4 hours, When the baby is asleep, they tend to panic that maybe the blood sugars of this baby will go down and all that. Mm-hmm. And they tell the mother now, this baby needs to be fed. Mm-hmm. So if the baby is very sleepy, can't do on the breast, what is the easiest alternative? Mm-hmm. They just give the baby formula. Mm-hmm. And whether baby is asleep or not, the formula they will swallow. Mm-hmm. Because you just put in the mouth and they swallow. So this 1% is if they miss, it's actually called the golden magic hour. Mm-hmm. And that one, no mother should miss that. And it's the duty of the midwife who is conducting that delivery to initiate that, because the mother is a new mom. Once she's given her baby, apart from admiring, she doesn't know what is the next step to do. So it's the duty of the midwife. Actually, I would advocate every midwife who is in the delivery room must initiate breastfeeding with the first 1 hour, not unless there's a medical reason when then this baby can't breastfeed.
But the struggle sometimes I usually real, there is no milk, they don't know how to put the baby, maybe the nipples are still, you know, it's kind of...
Let me speak on that. The initial milk, colostrum, that yellow milk that is the first milk after you deliver, it's not a lot of it. And the baby doesn't need a lot of it. But that milk is very valuable. It's baby's first immunization. The yellow color is due to carotenes, you know, and it has a lot of what you call secretory IgA. This is an immunoglobulin. It's like paint. It coats the gut and protects it from penetration by offending organisms. Within that breast milk, there are also white blood cells that go and embed into the baby's immune system. You know, the gut has patches of white blood cells. We call them Peyer's patches, but which are part of protecting the gut from infection and from entry of infectious material that then would cause a whole infection in the infant. So that is from the breast milk. The process of putting the baby on the mother also means that the baby gets coated with mother's bacteria. I think these days you hear people talking of probiotics, microbiota, you know, sort of the bacteria that covers your skin, and which forms actually part of the protection of the infant from bad organisms. So the baby gets coated with what mother has. Mother's milk has the antibodies, anti-infectious factors that will protect baby from infection from the organisms in her environment. In the last 3 months of pregnancy, she's also been actively giving the baby this antibodies across the placenta. So that whole system is pretty well put together. Now, so the key thing is that the expectation is not that colostrum is a lot of milk, but it quickly builds up as the baby is put on the breast. Now, the female body is very efficient. If you want milk, if you put the baby frequently on the breast, it produces the milk. If you don't put the baby on the breast, it stops making the milk. So it's very important that the mother breastfeeds on demand. The first 3 months of life, the breast milk production is based on hormone production by the mother's body. There's a hormone called prolactin, and there are high levels during pregnancy, and it needs to be sustained those first 3 months so that you continue to make the breast milk. But that, if you have a break from breastfeeding for 8 hours, so you went off to work or you were tired, went off to the market and left the baby at home, just those 8 hours break can actually result in a drop in that prolactin level, and it starts now troubling your milk production. You can actually have lactation failure.
Thank you for saying that, because sometimes people wonder why initially the breast milk production was quite good, quite commendable, and then it begins to decrease as the days go by. So you say the body produces milk based on demand. So if you put the baby on the breast, the body is communicated to produce milk. If you don't do that often, then the body is told milk is not needed, so milk is not produced within.
And not only that, when you don't put the baby on the breast frequently, first of all, human milk is digested in about 2.5 hours. So that's the frequency of feeding is every 3 hours, especially in that first 3-4 months of life. Now, if you don't put the baby to the breast and the milk is staying a little longer, it starts changing taste. It becomes a little more salty. And babies are like every other human being. They'll say, this stuff doesn't taste right, you know.
There's something different about this.
Yes.
So, too salty.
It's too salty for me, you know.
And then you will see the baby starting to refuse to breastfeed. You wonder why.
Yeah. Now the other thing that's happening very frequently, and you have highlighted it, is this business of quickly turning up with the formula for the baby, for the mother to support her. Now, formula is based on cow's milk, and cow's milk protein is not easily digested. So when you give a baby formula, then they are not going to get hungry for about 4 hours. But with breast milk, they are hungry within 2.5 hours. So again, that's building into that system the feeling of the less frequent feeding.
All right. Prof, I'm coming back to you as we just talk about the theme.
Yes, maybe to add on to that, briefly, as she said, 3 B's must always work together. The baby, the breast, and the brain. Baby sucks on the breast, message goes to the brain produces the 2 hormones, prolactin and oxytocin. The hormones go back to the breast. Prolactin stimulates milk production, oxytocin is for letdown. So meaning the more the baby is sucking, the more the message, the more the hormones, the more milk you are getting. And the first 3 days, actually, the stomach of the baby is sounding small like this. And you just need very small. You need
the size of the stomach of the baby.
The first 3 days.
Day 1 to
3.
To day 3.
Yes, and no mother would miss to get milk like that. Then by 4 to 6 days, the stomach becomes that. By the time the baby is about 7 days, this is the stomach. And by 10 days, mother is having even excess milk. So personally, for the 32 years I worked with the babies, I never saw a breast that never produced milk at all. It could delay a bit, maybe 2-3 days before it becomes a lot. But I have never seen a case that they have said completely they lacked milk.
Plus I've had, I don't know whether it's you said the other time that your body produces enough for what your baby needs. There are women who say, I don't produce milk, sina maziwa ya kutosha. But then you said that your body will produce enough for your child. There's nothing like ati haitoshi.
Actually, before the baby is born, when the baby is still inside, they never poo. They only pee. So their stomach is closed. So once they are born, if you put 1 drop, the stomach expels 1 drop and is happy. If you put 2, it goes like that. So it's demand. So nature is so beautiful. So what you produce is actually just what your baby needs.
All right.
Just remaining focused and positive.
All right.
Let me pick up. You talked about mother saying that they don't have enough milk. And often the reason they'll say that is that they feel their breast and they feel soft. In the early, after delivery, when your breast feel full, that's because of increased blood flow. But in a very short time, that goes down. And the more babies you have, the less time you have of that fullness of the breast. It's important that they understand that a soft breast doesn't mean that there isn't enough milk. In fact, an average mom can make 1.5 liters of milk in 24 hours.
In 24 hours?
Yes. And the baby only needs about half that amount.
In a day.
It's also, it's sort of like an increased income for the family, because if you are not breastfeeding, you would have to be spending money on that, right?
Formula, which is very expensive now.
All right, so let's get to the interesting part, Mary.
Yes.
We're talking about breastfeeding, but do we know how to do it right? That is where also a lot of women, go wrong. How you do it will also determine the outcome that you achieve. I want you to run us through the basics of just how it starts. What do you do? What do you tell these women to do so that the baby can breastfeed properly?
Okay. So first of all, they must know they have the breast, yes, but where should the baby latch? So when milk is made in the breast cells, then it flows through some ducts. Those ducts come and open in this part here, is called the areola, and it's waiting in the ducts like this now, that colostrum, which will run now through to the nipple. So if a mother puts the baby on the nipple, there's no milk. The nipple is an outlet. So the baby should suck where the milk is, which is the dark part, the areola. So it's the duty of the person assisting the mother to help them know how to latch the right place, because once they latch the nipple where there is no milk, they bite. And the gum is like it has teeth. Once they bite, you get cracked nipples. Then breastfeeding becomes a nightmare, because it's very painful for a baby to suck, or for a mother on a cracked, it is a nightmare. So to prevent cracking, the midwife teaches the mother where to latch, which is the areola. And in case they are biting, they have to learn how to remove, to remove the baby, not to allow the baby to continue chewing. You latch by putting a finger on the side of the mouth, then try again. And you have to time. Like now, if I can use this baby, when you are breastfeeding, you have to tickle the baby so that they can open the mouth for you. You come with the nipple to the side, they follow you. Come to the other side, they follow you. Come here in the middle, they are trying to follow the nipple. Then you put that nipple over the tongue. Not at the tip of the tongue, over the tongue. Once the baby is able to be, the nipple is over the tongue is the one that now propels milk, and that way the mother will not feel pain. Then once the baby is finished sucking, you can either pull down here or a finger in the mouth to stop that suction. Otherwise, if you pull when it's still, the baby can bite. Then immediately you finish that, squeeze a little bit of your milk, apply and leave it around the areola. Breast milk has the antibodies and immunoglobulins, which act like a natural antibiotic. That prevents further nipples from cracking. You don't even have to use these modern creams. Breast milk is the natural medicine for your nipples. And we are also advising mothers, once you have taken a bath in the morning, don't keep taking a towel to wipe, because the more you keep wiping the nipples, they dry more and then they end up cracking. So now there are those mothers with a nice nipple. There are those without a nipple, which are inverted, they are actually inside.
Okay.
Others are a bit flat. But as long as the baby is able to latch at the right place,
there's no problem.
It will come out.
So they don't latch at the nipple. That's the key.
The message is the areola.
The nipple has very many nerve endings. It's very, very sensitive. And it has elastic fiber. It's actually a gate. So when you stimulate it, it tightens. It's a gate so that you don't go dripping milk everywhere. So when the baby suckles just on the nipple, it just tightens.
It closes up.
It closes it, and the baby's not getting milk. And they get angry and they chew at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the event of those now, without, or those with the very inverted nipples, for the lack ones who are in the towns, we have solutions. Like we have this thing, is called a nipple lash assist. You just put where there is no nipple, like here, like this, and it just pulls like that. Then it forms a nipple, then the baby is able to latch. Yes, we have things called nipple formers now, something like this with a groove. When the mother is not breastfeeding, you just put it like this. By the time you are removing after 2 to 3 hours, it has formed like kind of a ring. Then the baby is able to latch. So at least no mother these days who should go home without being able to breastfeed. For those who are in the rurals, maybe they don't have these things. You can also still teach the mother how to roll with some Vaseline. But as long as the baby is able to latch here, they are still able to breastfeed.
All right.
So that's now the breast. Again, something else we are discouraging, mothers using these 2 fingers when they are breastfeeding like this.
They're trying to help
Yes.
milk to flow. That's
Flow. But when you do this, this is called scissoring. You're actually restricting that milk. And the baby is there trying to get it. So they end up using a lot of force. Then you get sore nipples. So the best way is putting the whole hand under like that and the thumb over like this, so that the baby is just able to take milk without using a lot of force on you. Yeah, so that's about the latching. The positions are also key, because both mother and baby must be in a comfortable position. So there are many breastfeeding positions. The common one is the one we call the cradle, where the baby's tummy and mother's tummy are like this. Then this head is supposed to go under the mother's breast. Then she brings the head and holds at the buttocks, close. And you don't go to the baby, baby comes to you. Because if you keep going down, you end up with shoulder pains, back pains, and then you don't enjoy breastfeeding. So baby comes to you, then you hold your breast and feed.
Yeah.
And minimum per breast should be not less than 30 minutes. Because initially baby suck 1, 2, 3, they pause to swallow. 1, 2, 3, 4, they pause to swallow. And breast always has 2 types of milk, fore and hind. The fore milk for about 10 minutes is very watery. So basically for quenching thirst, the leash milk is behind.
So wait until the good stuff starts flowing. Don't be too fast to change from one breast to the other.
So that they get the fats for energy, calories to satisfy hunger, for weight gain and proteins. Otherwise, you can have a lot of milk, but you feed here 10 minutes, 10 minutes, that baby is always on the watery one. You go to the clinic, you are told your baby is not growing.
Right. Great. Let's talk about, you know, it's easier said than done, what she's saying, And the theme for this particular year for the World Breastfeeding Week is quite outstanding for me. It is a clarion call for closing the gap and supporting all breastfeeding mothers to be able to achieve the goals that we're all discussing this morning. So let's talk about some of the unique challenges, Prof, that would hinder, you know, women or mothers also to just be able to breastfeed their children in the right way. You can talk about even the workplace, talk about even just the home environment. What are some of the challenges that thwart the efforts of mothers in breastfeeding?
I want to maybe highlight three things. One, breast engorgement. The breasts are too full, so the baby is not able to latch. And that you need to be able to manually express breast milk, so you soften the breast so that the baby can attach. That is sort of like an immediate problem at home. Your relationship in the household, you know, your mind is important in your success in breastfeeding. So when we do like counseling to couples, we'd like to work together with the couple. The partner should support support the breastfeeding mother so that she's able to breastfeed. Very many times, especially with first-time mothers, the spouse is suddenly not the center of attention, and there's peer rivalry between the father and the baby. There's also now with the modern fathers, they feel left out because they don't have a breast, and I'm aware of times when they have forced the mother to formula feed so that they get a chance to feed the baby also. At a mimi, I'm part of that. This can create quite a bit of conflict. Many women feel a bit of blues after delivery, and this postpartum blues can play into that, so that breastfeeding is not successful. A baby can be unwell. And it's important a mother knows how to recognize a baby who's not doing well, who's not well, and seek health care early. Because once the baby progresses and the child is really not well, you start feeling a failure. And then that plays again into your ability to breastfeed, your sense of self-confidence, etc. Now, the other is the issue of work. I think all women work, whether you're working from home or whether you're working going out to the workplace. And thinking through how you manage your work and breastfeeding is important. And today, what we're doing is that we're encouraging mothers, as soon as you go home and you start your home and you're feeling comfortable, sort of week 1, week 2, start expressing breast milk and storing it for your baby. So
even before you resume your work, if you work.
Yes, I teach at the University of Nairobi, and I have postgraduate students who are young women who are having babies. They express breast milk from the moment they are home. They get themselves a little freezer, and it is full of breast milk, and they've been able to use that expressed breast milk as they go back to work all the way until their babies are 1 year and beyond. In the workplace today, in the workplace that employs more than 50 people, must have a lactation room. And the law is very clear. It outlines exactly how that room should be to allow a mother who's breastfeeding to be able to go in, express the breast milk, and take it home. It also talks about allowing them half an hour or an hour to come later or to leave early, as part of that support for breastfeeding. In the hospital, like Kenyatta National Hospital, nurses, because they're the largest female workforce there, and do not go on night duty until their baby is over 9 months. Again, that is part of supporting breastfeeding. I think there are a number of businesses now that even allow you to come in with the baby, you know, and there's very good research done now for more than 30 years showing that when you allow your female workforce to be able to come in with a baby and have a little creche, they're actually more productive than the men who didn't go to maternity, who didn't have a baby, who are not waking up many hours at night to feed a baby. So those I think developing that culture of being supportive of breastfeeding will take us a long way. Mary,
the storage of breast milk, she mentioned something important, that you need to start expressing, long before even your time for maternity leave elapses. Why is this important, and what are some of the tips that you can share with us with regards to storing this breast milk? How long can it take while it is still valid, and the hygiene concerns and all that?
So, actually, breast milk, you can start expressing even as soon as from week 1. Because we have mothers, just their body, the way their hormonal changes, they start leaking that milk when they are pregnant. So by the time the baby is even 3 days, they are already, and God just was saying, the breasts are so full and they are leaking. So we say instead of allowing that milk to leak into waste, they start harvesting. So there is nothing like you have to wait until the baby is 2 months to start harvesting. You start harvesting as early. In fact, currently, there are mothers who are harvesting their milk before delivery because we have things that have come up, like they are called breast shells. So you just put it here and here when you are sleeping, for those who are leaking. When you wake up, as long as it's sterilized, and sterilization doesn't have to be high-tech. You can just clean with the soap and water nicely, then boil hot water, put them for about 10 minutes. It's clean. We don't want again to sterilize our babies completely, because when they go out there, they will be getting sick.
Yeah, so we want level of risk.
Yeah, so we want them to be clean, not pure sterility. They get a few bacteria at home. So when they go out there in school, they are strong. So they can use milk collectors. Most important thing is to make sure the things are clean. And hand washing is the main thing. Hand washing is the main spreading tool of bacteria. So washing hands, cleaning these things with soap and water. So as I said, you can start expressing as early as possible. Once you express milk, these days we have storage bags for milk, we have storage containers. If you express and you don't put in the fridge, for example, there are people with no fridge, and you leave it here in room temperature, as long as it is in a clean container, it is safe up to 8 hours.
All right.
In room temperature. If you are lucky to have a fridge, once it's put in the normal fridge, it can go up to 5 days. And it's still okay. If you're even lucky to have a freezer, frozen milk can go up to 6 complete months, and we even have advanced freezers where milk can go up to 1 year. All what you need is making sure you've written date and time so that you'll be knowing fast in, fast out. And when it comes to warming, breast milk cannot be boiled or put in the microwave because it has the antibodies. We don't want to destroy them. So what we do is thawing. You can remove from the freezer, put it in just room temperature water for about an hour. It thaws from very cold milk. After that, now, you boil some water, put in a container, then you put the milk now to warm. And to test the milk, because so that you don't burn the baby, we are used to telling mothers to put a drop here. These days we encourage this part. This is the most sensitive part of our bodies. So if you put a drop of that milk here, it's not too hot or too cold, then the baby can take. Then once milk has been warmed, it can never be refrigerated again.
It has to be used.
But it is still safe in room temperature for up to 4 hours. So that you don't waste a lot. But beyond now 4 hours, we can't use it again. Then we discard.
Wow, that was quite elaborate. And you can even if you don't have a fridge, some good news is that you can keep it under room temperature for 8 hours and it will still be okay. I want us to, as we finalize this conversation, Prof, just talk to us about the way forward. We've made some milestones. Actually, we have a human milk bank. I don't know what that can be done to be replicated across all the counties. We're still kind of in the pilot phase. Let's talk about the way forward. When we talk about closing the gap and supporting all mothers to be able to breastfeed, what does the future look like? Who will need to do what so that we achieve that particular, or we close that gap?
The babies who face big challenges in terms of feeding are low birth weight infants, preterms, because often the mother is unwell. And we know today that in order of importance, mother's own milk, then human milk from a milk bank, and then anything else after that, or rather formula milk after that. Now, having said that, a human milk bank is like KCC. It's a factory. It's essentially a factory, just like you have, say, KCC or Brookside, where you're getting milk from whatever source, and you have to process it and maintain it in a safe way before it gets to the baby. And so it requires quite a bit of infrastructure. We have a milk bank at Pumwani. And initially was funded, I think it was DFID or yes. But once the funds, once the grant ended, they've had challenges in terms of it running full blood. Yes. The source is available. There are very many women who have more milk than they need, and they're happy to share milk. I think it's one thing about breastfeeding. You feel a sense of community. But the other processes then of, the storing the milk, the pasteurizing the milk, and then being able to get it to the mother who actually needs it, I think that process still needs work. I think as a nation and as a people, the more important thing is to be able to protect the breastfeeding, that relationship of this mother and this baby. Some of the reasons why moms have a preterm can be sorted out, good antenatal care, so that you have a term infant. And even if you have a preterm, you can be supported to have your to breastfeed and breastfeed safely. Yes, so that would be my thinking. There's one issue we haven't talked about, which also interferes with breastfeeding: a woman's self-image about her body. And 2/3 of babies are born to young women, aged 18 to 25 years. And at that point, how you look is really important. And one of the worries is that apart from their breasts, so when you're pregnant, your size increases one size up. Now, when you're breastfeeding, you're 2 sizes up. So that lack of knowledge that this is the normal physiology actually destabilizes them. And so you know, they are at the same time worried about their partner, maintaining their relationship with their partner. I did a lot of this kind of work during when the AIDS epidemic was really bad. So there's the anxiety that their partner will go and look for other
women.
Yes, when you're breastfeeding, we have taboos in our society about men don't mix with wet breasts, so to say.
Yeah.
So being able to address that in terms of counseling and reassuring somebody that once you stop breastfeeding, you go back to your old size. Also, the message that actually you're most beautiful when you're breastfeeding. There's a glow about a breastfeeding mother. You know, there's a beauty, really a beauty about that woman in that state. So
that people are yet to really understand.
Yes, yes, yes.
All right, and
yes.
those who fear that if they breastfeed, their breasts will
Sag.
sag.
Breasts don't sag because of breastfeeding. They sag as you age.
Yes.
All right. So as we wind up this conversation, Mary, do men have a role to play in breastfeeding? And also give us your final thought.
Yes, men, actually, the only thing they don't have is the breast to put the baby. But they have so much they can do. And actually, for breastfeeding to succeed, men need to be involved from the time this lady conceives. If they are going to the clinic where possible, they go together. And then wherever they are going to the clinic, I'm hoping, it's my hope, even in the rural, the dispensaries, that there can be somebody to pass a message about breastfeeding to the couples. So once they start from the clinics, they go together. By the time she's delivering, the man is supposed to be also in that delivery room. So they start together. Support is the most important. Because once the baby comes, the baby is the boss. You want to eat, the baby also wants to eat. You want to sleep, the baby is waking up. So this is where the man comes.
To support.
When now the mother wants to sleep and she has breastfed, take the baby. Bob, hold the baby and remove the gas as you board. And then tell mom, sleep, I'm taking care of the baby. So they can do that support. Help the mom to change the diaper. It's not a taboo to change the diaper. Give her fluids. In fact, I always say for breastfeeding to be successful, 3 things must work together, apart from the 3 B's. Mother must drink for 4 people and eat for 1. So it's the daddy to provide these fluids and the food.
All right.
Mother must rest or sleep when her baby sleeps.
Yeah.
So it is the dad to organize for this mother to be able also to sleep.
Not that when the baby is sleeping, you're attending to the man.
Yes.
You're supposed to be resting.
Yeah, and the men should understand. In fact, before they get married, it is babe, babe, babe. But when the baby comes, now there are 3 babies. There's a baby, and the priority among the 3.
The baby, not babe.
It is the baby, not this baby. No, that's the mistake people are making. There's this baby, there's the babe, and the man, the 3. So who is the priority here?
This.
It's not this one. That's the mistake people are making. Because when you make the baby the priority, it goes wrong.
All right.
The priority is the mother.
The mother.
Make the mother comfortable so that she's able to take care of the baby and take care of you.
All right. Well
Yes.
said. 30 seconds.
Just for the fathers, if you stay in the space of your wife when she's pregnant, your baby knows you even as they're being born. They know your voice, and if you pick the baby and hold them, they soon know you. And the relationship you build with that infant will determine when they are a teenager, whether they do the right thing or the wrong thing. That bonding determines many things.
All right.
But we wish everybody the best as they go on the journey of breastfeeding.
It's true.
Yes.
On a light note, there's a time to stop breastfeeding. So Mary Madenge is a lactation specialist. She was sharing with us her insights, a retired nurse, and of course has taken us through the practical aspect of breastfeeding. We also had the sit down with Professor Ruth Kareithi Nduati, pediatrician and epidemiologist, Professor of Pediatrics, School of Medicine, College of Health Sciences at the University of Nairobi. This conversation coming as we are set to begin the World Breastfeeding Week, starting tomorrow, running all the way to the 7th of this particular month. It's something that we mark annually every first week of August. And now we know it's calling upon all of us to really support breastfeeding mothers out there. It doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, if you're breastfeeding, if you're an employer, whatever it is that you can be able to do, create a safe environment for women to be able to breastfeed, because we have understood the outcomes and the advantages that this has on our children and on us as well as a populace. My name is Safina Chengoma. Thank you so much for creating time to catch the program today. That's how we wrap it up. Enjoy the rest of your viewing and enjoy the rest of your day.